This unit is on transformation. In the past, I have taught transformations. I've taught reflections and then rotations, then translations, and then dilations. And as my students traveled along, they would go, yes, I understand each of them in isolation. And when they got to the test, it would be all of them together and they struggled. So I have then changed this that I will teach everything in this lesson to get you through the next 4 days, and you will just get to practice over and over on the 4 days. And usually about day 2, middle of day 3, the problems start doing much better. So this page right here, which is page 6, is my favorite page. Okay, so this is reflection. And reflection is going to go over the x-axis or over the y-axis. And then you'll have to rotate a figure. You can do 90 clockwise, 180, 270 clockwise. But also notice that if you start 90 clockwise, that's also 270 counterclockwise. And 90 counterclockwise is the same as 270 clockwise. You will have to be able to write these algebraically. One year I had students, when they were taking their test, I noticed that they had these little symbols and they told me that they were rotation shields, and I'll show you how to do the rotation shields as we go along. Translation is another word for move it, or you're just going to slide it over. And you plus or minus a number from the x, plus or minus a number from the b. And this tells you which way to go. And then dilation, we have already touched on dilation, but it's in this unit again, so I'm just going to keep it there. Make sure that as you travel along, you start trying to figure out how you're going to memorize this page, because in actuality, you're supposed to take your test without the use of this page. All 4 of them are called transformations, and when it says transforms, you're then going to have to pick up words in the sentence to figure out which one, whether it is reflection, rotation, translation, or dilation. So reflect ABC over the x-axis. So what it's going to do is it's going to take this and it's going to, if you folded your paper, it would match up. Okay, and if C is only 2 spots from the x-axis, then C prime, which is the new one, is only going to be 2 spots from the x-axis also. Okay, if B is 7 spots from the x-axis, it's going to still be 7 spots from the x-axis. Okay, reflecting over the x-axis, all of these, and I'm going to do the algebraic rule, starts with xy, that's what I start with, transforms, and in the computer that's going to be 2 dashes and a greater sign. Because it's going over the x-axis, x is the most powerful one. Because we're going over the x, it's powerful. And when it's powerful, it just really irritates y, so it changes y sign. So if I'm doing this, I can do it from the coordinates. This says keep x, change sign of y. That's what this says. So keep x, -5, change the sign, -3. And if I go, this is actually at -5, -3. Here we go. B, keep x, change the sign of y. Because reflecting over the x-axis, x stays the same. Change the sign of y. Do not change order of the letters. -2, 2 becomes -2, -2. I've now reflected over the x-axis. This one says reflect over the y-axis, so it's reflect y-axis. X comma y, that's what we start with, goes now over the y-axis, which means we're flipping over here. And if I folded my paper vertically, they would match up. So if you put little red paint here and flipped it over, the red paint would land right there. So if we're going over the y-axis, who's powerful? Y. Who does it irritate? X. So he changes his sign. Notice order doesn't change. So change the sign, copy down. So this says keep, does not. It does not. It says change sign of X, keep Y. So change the sign of X, -3 becomes 3, keep the Y value. Change the sign of the X, keep. And if you graphed it, that would be there. Okay, graph ABC vertices. So I'm first going to have to graph. So 1, 2. 1, 2 is A. 1, 2 is A. 3, 1 is B. And 3, 4 is C. Then graph the image of the triangle after is reflected over the Y and write coordinates of the vertice. So over Y, XY becomes over Y is all important. It irritates X. Okay, so if I'm one spot from here, I'm going to go one spot from here, and this is A prime, because we know that the primes are the new ones. And this would be change X, keep Y. Change sign of X, keep Y. B is 3 from the y-axis. B prime is 3 from the y-axis. That's my mirror. So 3, 1 becomes -3, 1. C is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and C prime. Again, if I smudged paint on here and folded it over, it would become, the red paint would go from here to here and make that. So this is 3, 4, becomes -3, 4. That's page 1 of your Learn It. And all of those were reflection. The only reflections you're going to do in 8th grade are over the x-axis and over the y-axis.